This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for September 26, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Feel Good Friday edition of the podcast. A football Feel Good Friday. Red October Express Feel Good Friday. It's just overall, all around Feel Good Friday. Let's start with the Phils. And it was a classic pitcher's duel. Not one that... especially with a rain delay, that was a very entertaining game. However, they got it done 1-0. Another series win this season. That has been their goal from the very beginning, just win series. So after dropping the first one here to the Marlins, they were able to take the next two. Bomer had a decent game, and the quote-unquote piggyback of Walker Buehler and Taijuan Walker seemed to work out. They both kind of had their struggles in their first respective innings, but definitely got it together. Both these guys are looking to make the postseason roster, and this is the second straight game where the two of them in Rob Thompson's piggyback seem to go well. So we will take that. They gave up 4 hits, 5 walks, and 5 strikeouts, but more importantly, 0 runs. David Robertson came in and saved it. Johan Duran was actually warming up as the rain delay happened, but Robertson came in and got the save. Good win. At this point, they're just playing out the string. This series, it stinks because we've been so used to meaningful baseball all season, but this series against the Twins, really not much on the line for anything unless you want to talk about Kyle Schwarber's pursuit of Ryan Howard's record. But this is what you get. Like, this is, you've earned this. You've earned the right to kind of be here. I guess there's an outside shot of catching the Brewers. But I mean, you're down 2 with 3 games left. And I don't know at this point how important the first seed is. You got the bye, which was the important thing. But let's have some fun this weekend with football. Then 1 week from tomorrow, the Red October Express pulls into Citizens Bank Park. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun weekend next weekend for Philly sports. But good win for the Phils. They take on the Twins this week. Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, Christopher Sanchez on the mound. Likely those guys will be just getting some work as they try to get their arms ready. I do think it's an important start for Aaron Nola, though, to come out and pitch well. Likewise for Ranger Suarez to bounce back and show something heading into the postseason. But overall, I mean, if you want to see Mick Abel pitch, he's pitching Saturday for the Twins. But that does lead to yesterday's question of the day. I asked you, are you concerned about the bullpen? 75% of you said slightly concerned, and I think that's where I am. I'm not full-blown panic, but it's definitely something that I have on my mind. So thank you to everybody who participated in that. All right, some Eagles news, and Adoree Jackson was a limited participant in practice, which bodes well for him possibly playing. We'll know more today when the final practice injury report comes out. I do think, again, we talked about this last night on the Brotherly Birds breakdown. If you're going to be a little bit banged up, especially in the secondary, and lose Nolan Smith and lose Jacorian Bennett and kind of challenge your depth in the secondary, this isn't a bad stretch of games to have coming up. And again, you don't wish injuries on anybody. I'm not glad they're injured, but I am glad that this is the stretch of games coming up. Because Tampa Bay is pretty banged up as well. Mike Evans is out. Chris Godwin is still questionable. He practiced on Wednesday, did not practice yesterday. Now, can read that one of two ways. He'd been out. Maybe that was just a scheduled off day to see how he responded from the first day of practice. Maybe it didn't go as planned. Either way, it likely will not be 100% whether he plays or not. So, again, that bodes well for a secondary that we have some question marks there at CB2. Eagles will be wearing the green jerseys on the road. And they're heading to Tampa. And I don't want to get too much into it, but I don't like playing in Tampa, but they need to remain focused. They need to make sure they don't let the ghost of Tampa Bay pass haunt them this weekend. And if they can do that, I think they'll be fine. But if you want a full breakdown and recap of the Rams game and then breakdown of the Tampa Bay game, including our three keys, fantasy picks, and our choices for GOAT of the game, go check out Brotherly Birds Breakdown anywhere you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. It is up and ready to go. Another good one as Colin and I get you ready for Sunday football. All right. Trivia question yesterday. In 1988, we talked about the Eagles. They had three running backs, or three players, I should say, go over 500 yards. And I asked you who they were. That was Randall Cunningham, Keith Byers, and Anthony Toney. Not to be confused with the Boston Strangler, Andrew Toney, but Anthony Toney. I had his starting lineup in my collection when I was a kid. All right. And this, my friends, is exactly why I did not do what I was going to do yesterday. The Sixers are just a snake-bitten franchise. At practice yesterday, Jarrett McCain did something. They weren't 100% clear on exactly what it was, but to the UCL ligament in his thumb, that is just the most Sixers thing ever. Getting excited for Media Day today, and I guess I'm assuming we're going to find out more about the extent of his injury. But anywhere I saw online, it could be anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks. So not a good start for the Sixers season, especially because they haven't re-signed Quentin Grimes yet. The two of them, the two parties cannot agree kind of where they want to come in on this contract. And I'm assuming Quentin Grimes wants the maximum amount of money for a one-year deal or the stability of a long-term deal. The Sixers are trying to not probably give him a long-term deal because without knowing how Joe's going to come back and Paul George and everything. So Sixers are in mid-season form, but today is Media Day. We should find out more. I do think as long as Joe comes back relatively healthy, they could survive not having Jarrett McCain for 4 to 12 weeks, but I don't know. It's a big if, but we'll know more. We'll learn more today. I'm excited still. I'm still not kicking that football, Lucy. Don't get out of here. Beat it. Beat it. All right. Be sure to follow me on social media at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont, and continue to spread the word as we grow this thing. And again, don't forget to check out the Brotherly Birds Breakdown, available now wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. And don't forget about those raffle tickets for the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. If you are interested in getting two home tickets to every single Philadelphia sport event, a chance for a 70-inch TV or spring training Phillies trip, hit me up. $20 get you into the raffle, and all proceeds go to the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. The induction ceremony is coming up a little over a month. We're going to start in a couple weeks breaking down this year's induction class, so stay tuned for that. But help support the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. Buy a raffle ticket. Who knows? You might end up getting two tickets to every single home Philadelphia sporting event. Whether you're coaching Little League, crushing your fantasy league, or just rolling up to a bachelor party like a Philly legend, Lotwin Custom Hype Chains bring the energy. Fully customizable, totally unforgettable, and guaranteed to turn you into the MVP of the moment. Great for teams, groomsmen, or anyone who wants to show off with some serious swagger. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD, and get 10% off your own custom hype chain. Lotwin, let's get hyped together. All right, September 26th, we're going to do a little Eagles and Phillies today. First, we're going to go back to 1971. And on this day in 1971, the Eagles lose to the Cowboys 42-7. Just a miserable game. The Eagles managed 170 total yards, turned the ball over 8 times, including 8 interceptions. But why are we talking about this? It's because it was the first ever regular season football game at Veterans Stadium. The Vet officially opened for football on this day in 1971. And that 1971 Eagles team started off 0-3. Head coach Jerry Williams was fired 3 games into the season. They would finish a respectable 6-7-1, 3-4 at the Vet that season. And I was surprised when I looked at this. We're going to talk wax poetic here about the Vet real quick, and you can see if you look at over my left shoulder with the blue foam finger and the brown picture frame, you can barely kind of make it out because the microphone's in the way. But there is a concrete slab, and that is my concrete slab from the Vet. Many great memories at the Vet, but this surprised me. The Eagles actually had a winning record all time at the Vet. They were 144, 111, and 2. I would have thought for sure because of some of those teams in the mid-80s and early to mid-70s, and even kind of the end of like Rich Kotite and Ray Rhodes era, I would have thought they had a losing record. But that also includes playoffs. But not bad. But the Vet will always hold a special spot in my heart. Like I'm sure a lot of people, my dad's age and older, it's Connie Mack Stadium. But it's where I grew up watching games. And it was very appropriate that I watched some dumpy teams in the dumpiest stadium of them all. But it was my dump. Had a lot of good times there. But on this day in 1971, the Vet officially opened for regular season football as the Cowboys thumped the Eagles 42-7. But the Vet would see better days. It took a few years, but the Vet did see some better days. And then fast forward to 1976, Greg Luzinski hit a 3-run homer in the 6th inning as the Phillies beat the Expos 4-1 in the first game of a doubleheader to win the National League East for the first time in club history, clinching a postseason berth for the first time since the 1950 Whiz Kids. Now, in true Phillies fashion, at one point they had a 15.5 game lead as late as August 24th in this season. Prior to this doubleheader with the Expos, the lead was only 3, but they did clinch it. First playoff spot since the 1950 pennant. They did win Game 2 of the doubleheader, 2-1 in a rain-shortened 7 innings. And little added footnote to this game, it was the last games played at Montreal's Jerry Park as the Expos would move into Olympic Stadium for the following season. But on this day in 1976, Phillies clinched their first NL East Division title, beating the Expos 4-1 in Game 1 of a doubleheader. But they had to put the celebration on ice because they had to go out and play the second game. And then fast forward to 1998, Phillies were walked off in extra innings, both games of a doubleheader by the Florida Marlins, 4-3 in Game 1, 1-0 in Game 2. But Game 1, Curt Schilling was on the mound for the Phils. He pitched a strong 8 innings, struck out 7. The 7 strikeouts got him to exactly 300 strikeouts on the nose. It was the second straight season that he went over the 300 strikeout mark, and was only, and this surprises me too, was only the second or fifth time in Major League Baseball history that a pitcher went over 300 strikeouts consecutive seasons. Not a bad run there for Curt. He had 319 the year before, but Phillies couldn't get it done. A brutal 1998 season, swept in both games of a doubleheader down in Florida. But Curt did get to 300 strikeouts for the second consecutive year. Only the fifth. Like that just, I don't know. Numbers like that baffle me because I'm like, I would have thought like a guy like Bob Gibson or even Carlton for that matter would have had more than or didn't have any. Just, I don't know. Just one of those things in baseball. Baseball, bro. It's just one of those games. All right, that does lead to today's trivia question. We're going to do a little vet question today. How many times did the Phillies and the Eagles make the playoffs the same year while playing in the vet? So essentially 2001 to, I think the last Eagles game was 2002, or for the 2002 season. So from 71 to 2002, how many times did the Eagles and the Phillies make the playoffs in the same time? The number may surprise you, actually. Hit me up on the Discord channel. First link in the description. Any of my social media, as well as the Back to the Future voice and text line, 267-495-8531. Get that, anything else Philly sports related off of your chest.
It's time for Fridays with AI, where we ask AI to rewrite Philly sports history. Every Friday, only on This Day in Philly Sports History.
That's right. It is time for Fridays with AI, brought to you as always by Philly Goat. Philly Goat's making some news. They were listed in the newspaper yesterday as one of the top places to get your Philly sports apparel. Go see what the hype is about. Go to Philly Goat. Use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. And just browse their whole site, man. There is a ton of great shirts. They got you covered for all the sports. Red October. Get on the Red October Express, baby. Get your Philly Goat. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery. Take 10% off, and you won't be disappointed. All right, so I'm going to switch gears to the Eagles here a little bit. And I mean, the comparisons have already started. If you follow social media, if you listen to sports talk radio, you're starting to see, well, they're winning with smoke and mirrors, just like they did in 2023, and we saw how that came out. And first of all, I'm going to go on record. There's no way this team is going to go through, barring catastrophic injuries, this team is not going to do that same type of collapse that they had, mainly because they went through it, came out the other side, and won a Super Bowl. This team is just built different. They have the calluses on their skin from the 2023 season. But I've heard enough people talk about it. So in order to avoid that, I figured when AI showed up at my door yesterday, I said, maybe I'll ask AI, what advice would the 2023 Eagles give to this 2025 Eagles? AI said, I got you. So here we go. So what advice would that 2023 team give to this year's Eagles team? And the first piece of advice AI said was protect Jalen from himself. Jalen will bring it all upon himself, will put the team on his back when need to. It's not sustainable. Everyone needs to contribute. It's great for games like how it was last Sunday, but Jalen needs to not have to put the team on his back. So everybody needs to contribute it and do those part. Kind of liken it to the old Bill Belichick, do your job. If everybody does their job, this team will be fine. Second piece of advice, balance the playbook. Don't become too reliant on one or the other. It worked out well last year being run heavy, but Jalen was able to pick his poison and really get the passing game going when needed to complement the running game. If you remember back in 2023, it was strictly a passing game where they just looked out of sync. They were calling the same plays. So balance the playbook, AI says. 3, fix communication issues before they break. And I think they do a good job with that. I think over the past 2 years, the communication, whether it's AJ and Jalen, Jalen and Nick Sirianni, AJ and Sirianni, defensively, I think they have things in place due in large part to that collapse of 23. But AI says fix the communication issues before they break. 4th piece of advice, trust in Vic Fangio. If you remember, that 2023 defense was a hot mess. You had Sean Desai, then it was Matt Patricia. Guys didn't know what the scheme was, what to do. Trust that Vic Fangio has been around. Vic Fangio has seen a lot, and let him do his thing. Basically, let Vic be Vic. That was the 4th piece of advice. 5th piece of advice, easier said than done. Stay healthy and fresh. Well, you can't really predict injuries, but don't overwork guys, and that goes back to the balanced playbook. Don't run Saquon into the ground. Keep him fresh. Rotate guys in, whether that be A.J. Dillon, Tank Bigsby, whoever. Make sure you guys are healthy and fresh down the stretch. Give guys days off in practice if they need it. Tone back the intensity of practice, things like that. And then the final piece of advice, which I think they have, name the team leaders and then have them be the go-to people when adversity happens. So don't have everybody saying their own piece. Trusting guys like Lane, Jalen, AJ, Devontae. Trust that those guys, Jordan Mailata, let them handle and be the voices when and if things start to go south. But I don't think that's bad advice. I think a lot of those things are already in place. And I do think the fact that they lived through the 2023 season and came out the other side better because of it bodes well for this team. So AI, thank you for the advice. I will pass it on to the 2025 Eagles. But let me know your thoughts on, in all seriousness, we've had some fun with Fridays with AI today. But let me know your thoughts on the comparisons. Is it justified? Is it fair? I guess you could say it's justified based on the fact that we were, 10-1 at one point in that season. But it never looked and felt like a good 10-1. We're 3-0 right now. There are some positives, more positives, I think, with this 3-0 than there were in 2023. Maybe I'm putting my Eagle midnight green glasses on and drinking the Kool-Aid, but I don't know if it's justified. I definitely don't think it's fair to compare them because that team was coming off a Super Bowl loss. This team is coming off a Super Bowl win. Top to bottom, as far as talent, they certainly are one of the top 3 talented teams in the NFL. But let me know your thoughts on the Back to the Future voice and text line, 267-495-8531. Get that anything else Philly sports related off of your chest. And as a bonus, I did ask AI to look into the future and was like, hey, AI, Phillies don't really have much to play for this weekend except for possibly Kyle Schwarber breaking Ryan Howard's single-season home run record. Give your best prediction. AI thinks he ties it. AI thinks he hits 2 home runs this weekend, ties Ryan Howard with 58. It will be must-watch TV. Now, he could break the record tonight, too. But that is Fridays with AI, brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order and see what all the hype is about. And then finally today, our underrated and underappreciated athlete, going Sixers in honor of Media Day. That would be Eric Snow. Eric was traded from the Seattle Supersonics in 1998 to the Sixers, and his numbers instantly improved as Larry Brown gave him more playing time. He was a great defender, great ball handler, and really a huge part of the 2000-2001 Sixers team. He was the perfect complement at point guard to Allen Iverson. Very contrasting styles. Both of them were hell of a players on defense, but Eric Snow was kind of the facilitator on there. Could get the ball into AI when he needed, get it into space, but play good defense then on the opponent's best point guard, which also opened up Allen Iverson to take more risks, which is why, if you remember, AI was always good. And I mean, he got burnt sometimes, but he was always good with anticipating passes and going for steals that led to fast breaks. A large part of that was because of Eric Snow's defensive ability. Again, that's why he's underrated and underappreciated, because he allowed and opened that side of the game up for AI. Probably the biggest Eric Snow moment was when he hit that clutch 1-foot shot to give the Sixers a 4-point lead in overtime, game 1 of the finals. Did it on a fractured ankle, though. Had injured his ankle earlier in that season, came back and fractured it early in the playoffs. Played like 7 games in the playoffs with a fractured ankle. And I thought he played well throughout that playoff run. But overall, Eric spent 7 years here in Philly, 9.7 points a game, 6.6 assists, and 1.6 steals per game. He did make the second team All-NBA defensive team back in 2003. But Eric Snow, one of the unsung heroes of that 2000-2001 team. All those guys had played their role, and Eric Snow certainly played his perfectly. So today, Eric Snow is our underrated and underappreciated Philly sports athlete. Let me know your thoughts on the comparisons, though, to the 23 and 25 Eagles teams. I don't think it's justified. I think they're two different teams, and I don't think the way this team is made up, they're going to allow it to go down that path. On this day in 1998, Curt Schilling went over 300 strikeouts for the second consecutive year as the Phillies finish out and play out the string in a miserable 1998 season. 76, Phillies win their first NL East division title, beating the Expos in the first game of a doubleheader 4-1, final set of games ever played at Jerry Park in Montreal. And in 1971, the Vet opened for football with the Cowboys thumping the Eagles 42-7. The Vet would see better days, though. They would see better days. All right, you got a big weekend of Philly sports coming up. You got the final 3 regular season Phillies games against the Twins as we look ahead to Red October. Hop on the Red October Express all the way. Next Saturday, October 4th, the playoffs kick off. Got Eagles-Bucks this weekend. The Union are still alive for the Supporters Shield. They'll be in action this weekend. Sixers kick off training camp today. Hopefully nobody else gets hurt. And then you have the Flyers with a couple preseason games. It's one time of the year. The fall is great when you have the intersection of all 4 sports. The spring equinox or sports equinox, whatever they call it. It's coming. That's why we're feeling good here on a Feel Good Friday. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for September 26, 2025. Don't forget to go check out the Brotherly Birds breakdown. We get you ready for the game. Have yourselves a Feel Good Friday and a great weekend. I will see you Monday when we rewind the weekend. But until then, I'll see you when I see you.